Here with the man of today, ASU quarterback Sam Leavitt. And Sam, how's the offseason been for you, man? Summertime, I saw you got to go wakeboarding recently. How's it been?
It's been a lot of fun. Got to take some time off, go to the 4th of July, see the fam, go to Newport with a couple of my friends. So it's been a lot of fun. I've just been hanging out and grinding at the same time. So, just got to take a mental break before it's really lock in.
Right. Has it been nice to kind of take that mental reset after it's kind of been a whirlwind this past year for you?
Yeah, for sure. You gotta take time to relax and understand the situation you're in, and separate from football so that you can come back and go full throttle. You don't want any diminishing returns and spend too much time and then you get frustrated and don't want to be at the facility and stuff like that. So taking those breaks is really needed.
Just saw you up there on stage, the recent PayPal partnership with the Big 12 Conference. You're an ambassador for that. With this new, just going into a week ago, the aspect of athletes being paid directly by schools, what does that do for athletes like you as well as other athletes in the Big 12?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to give a big shout out to them, and their team. Great situation for me to be in and support their brand. Just in terms of getting paid through NIL, it just helps build your brand from such an earlier age now, rather than waiting to get to the NFL, and then you risk all these different injuries. People are able to build their brand right now and build up some money, stack some cash, and maybe get into some investments and things along those lines, and then developing relationships is probably the biggest thing.
What do you want Sam Leavitt's brand to represent?
Hard work and dedication.
There you go. Saw you recently out at the Manning Passing Academy. Got to learn from some of the all-time greats like Peyton Manning. What was that like being out there learning from them?
Learning from them was incredible. You really got to understand their demeanor. Great people, and just talk to them about silly stuff. What happened on this play. Things along those lines. So just being around them and seeing what they're like as people, and then being around all the other quarterbacks in the nation. Only they understand what you go through. So I was talking to Peyton, and we were talking about just some media presence, for him in Indianapolis versus Eli in New York. And he said, Eli kind of told him to stop looking at the media so much because he was looking at the good and the bad. And he's like, you don't want to look at any of it, because then you're just going to take some of the good and some of the bad, and it's going to affect you. So just understand things like that. It's cool to be around them.
Definitely taking some of that advice to heart, I'd assume.
Oh, for sure.
What are some other NFL quarterbacks you maybe looked up to, like Peyton, during that time when you were growing up?
I was a big Aaron Rodgers fan. Obviously, Tom Brady's on, and I always liked Tom Brady. He wasn't my favorite compared to Aaron, but definitely probably top 3.
Okay, I'm assuming you played with a lot of those players in the Madden football game, but now you're in your own football game, in a video game, getting to see you on the cover and your coach Kenny Dillingham on the cover. What's that like?
Yeah, it's surreal. Every single time that I look at it, it's a game that I played as a young kid. I remember I used to play my cousin, and if he'd beat me, I'd always try to beat him up after because he's better than me. So just silly stuff like that was going on that created so many memories. To be on the cover of that and to be memories for kids around the nation that play the game, it's a lot of fun.
I know you and JT are pretty highly rated in the game. I know you guys like to go at it against one another too. Who do you think is going to win in those matchups in College Football 26?
I'm always going to say me. I haven't seen him play. I haven't seen him play yet, but
pretty good on the sticks. I
guess. Yeah. No, we played Rocket League and stuff like that, so we got to go test it out, and then I'll let you know.
There's a couple more questions for you, Sam. Where's your mental headspace at heading into this season for you?
I'm in a really good spot. You understand that you got a bigger task on your plate, and you got all these projections for the Heisman in the draft, and you got to take those into account, and that's what drives you in the off season. Just more fuel to the fire. But, you just got to understand that the main thing is the main thing, and go back to work every single day and be there for your teammates.
Last thing for you. Pressure and praise can both be a privilege, but it can also be poison for a team. How do you think this team is positioned to push through that, push past that?
We've just harped on it since, January. Coach Dilly in the first meeting brought out a cake, and he was like, hey, we're the Big 12 champs, da-da-da, and then just smashes it on the ground. And I remember that, and it's just like, who gives a crap about what we did last year? It just matters about this next season and going to work every single day. So he's done a great job instilling that in all the guys, and all the guys are doing the same thing.